Hello everyone, welcome to the Day 6 course of Supermap SMC 7-day development. In the last course, we achieved to find the nearest parking lot. When we set the distance, first we set the distance and then we end a point here, then the nearest parking lot will be displayed on the map. In this course, we are going to edit the parking lots, including and a new parking lot, modify the attributes of the parking lot, and delete a parking lot. Firstly, let's take a look at the picture. Here, let's look at the edit part. This is what we are going to do today. The first we should make the parking lot layer editable, and then we input the attributes of purpose and the name of the parking lot. Then we can add a new parking lot or select a parking lot or modify the purpose and the name of a parking lot. Also we can achieve to delete a parking lot. Now this is what we are going to do today. So now let's begin our course. The first, let's add all these tags to the system interface. The first here define the global object data. In this course, we will also use data service. The parking lot that edited will be also update the data set. The data in the data set in the data source. So let's look. The first we're going to add all these tags to the interface. We put it behind the distance query, and here we put a label named edit tag and a checkbox tag, and also here purpose label, and two input tags. Then we also add 4 buttons. Let's refresh our page. Here we can see all these tags added to the interface, and then let's make a little adjustment to make these buttons with the same width. Here we're going to use the min width parameter. We add this to the index CSS file, and here let's refresh it. It's not being changed. Then let's F12, press F12, and then we empty cache again. Here we can see the interface. These buttons are with the same width now. So here it is about the. Then we finish it to we will finish designing the interface. Now let's go to achieve these functions. The first we should first bend the click function to the checkbox and these 4 buttons. Here we copy. We first onto the parking.js file. Then here, let's make a load. Edit parking lot. Then if the checkbox is checked, it will start edit, and if it unchecked, the edit will be stopped. That will be stopped, and here let's now see this one. And also we should to achieve the end select, modify, and delete functions. The first let's finish the edit the checkbox functions. Here we make the parking layer editable, and when we start editing, here the first we should display all the parking lots on the map with vector layer. Here we use the circle query to select all the parking lots, and then we need to finish the process completed function when all the parking lots are selected, then we should display them on the map with vector layer. Here, this is about the when the circle query finished, we are going to show all these parking lots on the vector layer, because now the parking lot displayed on the map with marks are the tiled layer, so it is not editable. If only the layer is vector layer, it can be editable. So here the first we displayed all these parking lots on a vector layer. Let's save it, and then let's refresh it. So here we check it. There's something wrong here. Here. This circle parameter, we use the get feature by circle parameter. This is also I don't say any more about this. Here, let's look at the data URL. let's go to see this query and query by circle parameters. Not this one, and get feature by circle parameters. By service, here we can see this class, the URL. Here here is the requirements of the URL. It is the data service name and the data. We can go into our iServer. Manager. And here we use the data service, and going to here. So this is about this one is the corresponding URL. Here we can see REST data service name, REST data. This is the data service name and REST data. So here we are going to define a global variable of data URL. Here we copy this. Let's check it. Data URL. Then we refresh it again. Then we check it. Here we can see all these parking lots are displayed on the map with a vector layer, and then the next when it's editable, then we are going to how about then next we are going to end feature. Here we can input the attributes here, the purpose and the name here, and then we end this end button. Then we can add a new parking lot on the map. So the first we are going to we should define draw point, draw feature. Ending park. The first we should draw point, and then we should make the endpoint active. When we click the end button, and it will trigger the endpoint activate. It makes the draw point activate. Then we are going to finish the endpoint communicated function. Here when and finish it, we are going to draw the we're going to we are going to store the parking lot we draw to the data source. So here we define field names and get the purpose and the names value, and then here we're going to use the edit feature parameters and edit feature service classes to recognize the parking lot storing in the data source. And here we can see the edit features parameters and the features, these attributes and the geometry of this point, and then the edit tab is we going to add the parking lot to the data source. Here we can see these classes here. We're going to use this these classes, edit feature classes, and the edit tab including the end, update, and delete. So here the first we are going to add a new parking lot, so we are going to use this end tab, and then we are going to modify the parking lots attributes. We are going to use the update type, and then we're going to realize the delete to delete a parking lot. We will use the delete type. So in this list of these three functions, we all use edit features classes. And when we finish it storing the data in the data source, we are going to update the vector layer and give tips to and show information to show we already add a new parking lot successfully. So here we can save it and then have a try. Here we name parking car and name super map parking lot. We end here, we end here. Then here shows error. It means there are something wrong with the data service. And here let's take a look at the data URL. The data URL will still use the data URL. We use this one. And let's take a look at the edit feature service. What the requirements about the URL? Here says the URL should be the data service name, this data, and then here need to add the data source's name and the data source and the data set's name and the features. So this data service should be in the data sources or the data and find the data sets. We are going to edit parking ground layer. So here we select parking ground data sets and the features. Here we copy this. Here we define a new parking data URL. Here we add this part, and then we going to change this data URL, the edit features data URL as parking data URL, and then let's refresh the page again, and here first editable, and then and here shows the edits might be into let's never mind. Here we can see we end the point. We end the parking lot on the map, and then here the next we should update the tile. We should update the tile layer to update. How to say? We should update the tile layer to also update the parking lot dataset. Here we only update the data in the vector layer, but we can if we the next here we suggest that if we make the parking lot not editable, it will refresh the page. Also update the tiled layer. Here we can we didn't add any functions here. Then let's do it. We add here when we stop edit, we are going to remove the vector layer and refresh the tiled layer. This will also copy this. Here stop edit. The first we remove the vector layer, and then we update the tiled layer. Then let's empty case and make it editable. We just make an example. Here we end here. the first we're going to solve this select feature. Here we didn't use this select feature. We find it. If there is any error in the console, you can locate to the code and find where goes wrong. Here in the 159, there the select feature is not defined. We find the 150 here. First we don't use it, and then table. So here is no error now, and here we can see we can select any one of these parking lots, and then the next we're going to add. We check this must be int. And check. No tab. So say false code and it must be int. Here we are going to check why this happened. And feature completed. Completed. Here we can check the next. The layer is not defined. Because in the map, this map.js file, here the layer is not global, is not global variable. So here, it can be not read in the parking.js file. We also define layer as a global variable. Let's refresh it and editable. And small int. Here we do it again, and here, okay, and refresh is not successful because there's something wrong here. Let's go back to our codes. and then the parking, just recognize this, and we make a breakpoint and point here. We and point. The first we make the point, draw point deactive, and give the geometry of the point and set the attributes to the point, and then we add the attributes to the data source. Feature. Go down here. Data means to type. To use features. Edit features. Parking ground also. Here we don't need the features, we only find the parking ground, the data URL, and let's refresh it again, and edit, and new parking lot successfully. And then let's make the layer cannot be editable, and then refresh the tiled layer. Here we can see the point already, the new parking lot already added to the map, and here we can go to the we can find in the go to the parking ground data sets. Here we can see the features, and I think this is the last from 100. Here we can see the last one. We didn't set the attributes here, so here is it is now. Now let's remember the sim ID, the 779, and then let's add a new. Here we name it as the purpose parking, and the name super map parking lot. and then we end the point, and it's here. And successfully, and then we refresh the tiled layer. Here we can see there is the layer is not updated because of in the supermap we use cache to optimize the performance of viewing the map. So here we can go to the we can find the map service. Not this one. The map service. Here we can see the cache. Here this parameter in the service. The default is enable map tile caches. So if we use cache, the map should be not updated immediately because there are previous cache stored in the in your disk. Here we can find the Mac here, WebMS server output and cache. Here we can see anytime you view the map, the cache will be stored in this file. So here we need to, if we want to update the tiled layer, we should make this tile cache we should enable. We should make we should don't allow the tile caches. And here we can also we can use this here we can set a parameter to here. When we define the tiled dynamic layer, the third one, tiled dynamic layer. Here we can find the tiled dynamic layer. Tiled dynamic layer. Here we can see this third one. This cache in there is a parameter named cache enabled. Gets or sets a value indicating whether to use the cache in the server side. Here we make the cache enabled as false. Cache enabled. Then let's refresh it, and here we make it editable. Parking supermap parking not and we end here. Okay, and then we refresh, we make it uneditable, and then refresh the tiled layer. Here we can see the parking lot added to the map. Then let's go to see the data sets. Parking ground and features. Here I think the last here we can see the last one. We can click it. Parking Superman parking lot. This one is the parking lot we ended, and it also update in the data source, and also you can we open a desktop to check the data source in the a desktop. We open our map, and here we can find this parking ground. Let's see its attributes. And to the end of it, here we can see there we add 3 new parking lots to the data source. It also can be checked in the desktop. So this is about the feature ending. The next we are going to organize and modify the attributes of the parking lot. Here, before we modify a parking lot, we should select one parking lot. So here, even though we can see if we make the parking lot editable, and then we can select any one of these parking lots. But here we do some optimization. If we select a new parking lot, the selected one will be displayed with highlight style. So here also we can easily identify which parking lot selected. And the first here and point completed and modify. The first here we are going to modify the unfeatured select and unfeatured select functions. Here we find these two functions at the map.js file, and here unfeatured select and unfeatured selected. The first when we select a new feature, we set a new style to this selected feature. We set highlight style to the new selected feature. then before when the new feature selected, the previous feature should be the previous feature's style should be recovered. So here, before we change the style of the feature, we first store the original style of the feature. Here we define original style to store the original style of the feature. Then we're going to change the style. And after we change the style, we should refresh the vector layer. I think sorry, I forgot the visual. When we change the style of the feature we selected, and here we refresh the vector layer. So let's go to save. We select one, and here we can see it had the selected one displayed with highlight style, but if we select another one, here the previous one is not changed. Here we are going to set here we are going to set the unfeature selected styles. Here, this one is here we can see the result records the previous one, the previous selected parking lot. This is the here is the information of the previous selected parking lot. Here we're going to recover the original style. We recover the previous one's style as original style. And also here, let's just refresh it and editable. Now here we can see the previous one style is recovered. So here is about so here we are easily know which feature we selected. This will be helpful for the next function modify or delete. We can know which parking lot we are modifying and which parking lot we are deleting. Then the next we go to the parking JS file, find the modify parking. Here we first we parking modification. First we copy here we define as a feature selected. The feature selected, it means you can only modify the parking lot if only the parking lot is selected. If there is no selected parking lot, it will show the information. Please select our feature first. It should be not editable. And the feature selected, here we also unselected. This feature is the selected one, and here we define the feature selected. We define this feature selected as also as a global variable. Here we can have take a look if editable, and then if we just press modify, and this means feature selected is not defined. Let me check it. Map.js feature. Oh yeah. Feature selected. Should be like this, and then we refresh it again, and editable, and then we modify it. And here we'll mention to please select a feature first. And here, so here we are going to even though now all the feature can be selected, but here we make a limit. Only if we click select button, the feature can be selected. So here we go parking.js file, and so here after we start to edit. When we completed the start editing, here we make the select feature deactive. The select feature is here. Is this one we defined in the map.js. We first make all this select feature unselected, and then only if we add select pattern, and the select feature can the feature can be selected. Here you go editable, and then let me check. And parking select feature deactive. Here shows the select feature is not defined. And then we are going to here find the select feature. Here we can see the select feature is not a global variable. So here we also define the select feature as a global variable. So it can be read in the parking.js file. Here, then we select. Here we can see we can't select any one of the features, and then only if we select here we can select the features. And then we are going to, here now we can modify it. And parking data URL is not defined. We're going to find the, here shows the parking data URL is not defined. Then we're going to the parking.js, find the parking data URL. Actually, it should be zip like this, and then editable, and select. We select one. Here we can see the purpose and the name. And also here we check this one. The purpose, parking name, Superman parking lot. This is what we this is the parking lot, so we ended. And then here the purpose we modify it as just like we modify it as building, and the name we name it as office. So here we modify it, and then here we also need to refresh it. Then we check the time. Select. You can there goes wrong. On features process count is not defined. Yes, here we didn't define this function here. When the parking lot feature updated, we should here we should end we should show tips to show the information we modified the parking lot successfully, and set the feature the selected as now. Here we choose it again, editable, and we select one feature. Here purpose parking, we change it as just an example, and modify it, and then we refresh the layer. Here shows the modify. We should wait until until we see this information. And then here, let's check the attributes again. Here we can see the purpose and the name, also change it to the building and the office. So here is about the modify feature, and then we're going to delete feature. Here we also first we close the pop-up window. Here we also use the difference between the edit feature and modify and delete is here. This is update for modify, and delete for delete parking. And here the data URL we should be the same, and then we add delete feature process completed function. when DNet parking lot successfully, it will show this information, and then we should make the feature selected as now, and we should update the vector layer. And let's empty the first DNet. If here we also should select a feature first. So here we select feature, and then we DNet parking lot successfully, and here we refresh. Here we can see the parking lot is deleted. Here we already modified the tiled cache enable camera meter. So let's review our course today. In today's course, we're going to we realize the parking lot edit. The first when we want to modify or edit the parking lot, we should first make this layer editable, and then we can put the attributes purpose name parking lot A, and then we can add the point here. Here shows successfully, and when we end to edit, the point show the parking lot is already added to the map, and here we can check its attributes, and then we also can modify this. Here we just change it as the building parking lot B, and modify it. Modify parking lot successfully, and here we refresh it, and then here we can check the information building and parking lot B. This is about the modification of the parking lot. And the next is delete. Here we can delete the selected one delete parking lot successfully, and when we make it uneditable, the parking lot is deleted. And actually here, the end point, the end function can direct and on the map. But here we should add limits to the end button when only if the edit button is checked. It can be use the end function. So here we add limits here. And the parking only if the parking lot, the parking layer is editable, the end function can be activated. So now let's have a try. Here we can add the point directly, but it's we make a modification, and then we end. And here will be mentioned, please start edit, and edit. Here you can end successfully, and okay, it updated. So I think this is about today's course. We achieved to edit the parking lot in the map, and update it, and it also can update the data source in the servers, and also can be checked the update in the desktop. So here we realized and a new parking lot, and a control to make the parking lot selectable, and we also achieved to modify the attributes of the parking lots, and achieved to delete a parking lot. So I think this is about today's course, and in the tomorrow's course it will be the last course of our SMC 7-day development. So in the tomorrow's course we are going to achieve to load 3D scene on the website. So I see you tomorrow, and happy a good day, and have a good day. Thank you.